Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Welcome to iScholar. So, in this class, what are we going to do? We are going to discuss Class 10th CBSE Board Exam. So, let's get started. Okay, this is something about me. My name is Shivani Yadav and I'm the physics faculty here in iScholar. Okay, coming to the first part, section A, that is we are going to discuss for the physics part first. Okay, so the first question says that to restore the clear vision, the first question said that to restore the clear vision in the, what is happening? Okay, so the first question says that to restore the clear vision in a person whose size of eyeball have reduced is suggested to use. Okay, so first of all, let us try to distinguish what is this sort of disease or what is the issue with the person. Whenever the size of eyeball have reduced, always we should know that this is hypermetropia. Hypermetropia, and all the students know, I know that all the students know that if we want to cure hypermetropia, what we can do, we can use a convex lens, right? So this can be cured if we use a convex lens, and the convex lens can also be said as converging lens, right? So few points which you should know about this is converging lens. Converging lens is the convex lens and the focal length is always positive to this. Okay, it will be useful to you in the numericals part. Coming to the next question we have. Okay, so see next question, the examiner have framed in such a good way. They have said rays from the sun converge at a point 25 centimeter behind the convex lens. Okay, and they have asked the distance at which object to be placed to get a virtual image. Okay, see, indirectly they have mentioned some information out of this. Okay, so if we have a convex lens, we know that if parallel beam comes, if parallel light rays come, so if parallel light rays are coming, these all light rays will converge at a point which is known as the focal length, right? Okay, so in the question, they have not mentioned what is the focal length. Instead, they have given that the light from the sun, which means that parallel light rays are going to come at a point behind a convex lens. They are going to form behind a convex lens. So if parallel light rays are coming, they will focus it over here. That is, this value 25 centimeter is given as the focus. Okay, so I'm writing the F value is, see, positive 25. Always keep in this habit that whenever you write things, try to write it with sign convention only. It will reduce the possibility of the mistakes, right? The distance at which the lens to get a virtual image. Now the virtual image is got for a convex lens if it is the focal length. If I say that this is the focal length 25 cm. If any object you place between the zero, the optical center, and this point, so wherever you keep the object, always that will form a virtual image. So now from the option we can clearly tell that this would be 20 centimeter. That is less than the focal length. Okay. Coming on next, it is given that you have a needle of a magnetic compass which is kept in strong magnetic field which always align itself in the north-south direction. Okay. So first of all, what we have to know is, what is this compass? See, compass is actually a magnet in itself. So whenever a magnet, it is placed near any magnet, it will get deflected because it is a magnet in itself. It's a very small magnet in itself. It have a property that if no magnetic field is there, or very, very, very small magnetic field is there, it always aligns in the north-south direction. Okay? But if a strong magnetic field, it is surrounded by a strong magnet around it, a strong magnetic field, then the normal configuration can change. So if in the question they give you it is very weak magnetic field, very zero, then this is correct. But now they have said it is kept in strong field and always it align it over here. So this is not true. Am I clear with the point? It will not align always. Now it depends on the magnetic field, how it is placed, right? Next statement says that, so we know that this is incorrect. Next says that behavior of needle of a compass is same that of freely bar magnet. So that is correct. Okay, the behavior of needle is somehow same to that of freely bar magnet. So you can say that this one would be correct. Assertion is false, but reason is true. Coming to the next question. Okay. So the next question says that define refractive index of an optical medium. Now what is refractive index? I'm writing it over here. Refractive index, which is shown by this letter nu. What is it? It tells the speed of light in that medium. So I'm writing this is a constant known as refractive index, which tells the speed of light in this medium, which tells the speed of light in this medium. Speed of light in this medium. Light in this medium. Okay, and I'm also writing the formula. You will also write the formula when this question comes. So that is nu is equals to, this is C. C stand for speed of light divided by V. V stand for velocity in that medium. This refers to in vacuum, speed of light in vacuum or air, or speed of light in any medium. And this is a constant value. We know that this would be 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by V. Now this V can change depending on the medium. A refractive index will also change. Coming on next, you can also mention this point that this is a unitless quantity, meaning it do not have any unit. As simple as that to understand, speed divided by speed. So obviously it is not going to have any unit, so it is unitless quantity. Okay, now in the next part it is asked, arrange the medium in increasing order of speed. Okay, see how easy this question is. Just try to understand. Refractive index is inversely proportional to the velocity in medium. What I'm saying, refractive index is inversely proportional to the velocity of medium. If velocity of medium is very high in this, can I say that the refractive index would be low? Or a medium with high refractive index would just mean that it have a low speed. So high refractive index would just mean a low speed. So I'm saying the material with maximum refractive index would have the least speed. So refractive index is maximum, speed is minimum. Now it's so simple to understand. We have 4 options. Just look it out. Which one is having the maximum refractive index? And just choose out the minimum speed. Okay. So from here I can say that this one is the maximum value. So can I say that the speed would be minimum over here? So I'm writing it over here. This is minimum value. This one is the minimum. Okay. And this one is a minimum refractive index. It only means one thing, that it would be a maximum refractive index over here. A maximum speed over here. Am I clear? So rest, you can also write it in a order. I have told you the way. Now coming to the next question, it have 2 parts written in 5th A or B. We'll be explaining both of it. So coming to the first, how does the change in curvature of eye lens help us in process of seeing the near object clearly. Okay, so what is actually happening? This is our eye lens, which is actually holded by the ciliary muscles all over here. So this is the lens, and we have these ciliary muscles hold it over here. Now, whenever we have to focus, so what happens? These ciliary muscles just try to change the thickness of this lens. When they change the thickness, the focal length of this lens changes. Am I clear? So when we change the thickness, the focal length also changes, and depending on our requirement, a suitable focal length is got. Okay. So how does a change in curvature of eye lens help in process of nearby object? You can write in this way that because of ciliary muscles, we can just change the shape of the lens, and when we change the shape, so what happens is we are changing the focal length of the lens. How? If this lens is in this way and if it is in this way, so we know that focal length of both the bodies is changing. Why? You know that what is focal length? If you complete an imaginary sphere over here, so the distance from the center to this is known as center of curvature, and just the half of it is known as the radius of curvature, or you can write it as focal length. So depending on either it is flattened या फिर ये काफी मोटा है या अभी ये काफी पतला हो चुका है, the focal length of the body can change. And we know that the power of lens is equals to 1 by focal length. So indirectly we can say that अगर हमने इसे configuration बदली तो इसकी focal length बदलेगी, focal length से power बदल रही है. So depending on the requirement, we can either do it in this way, या तो हम इसे ऐसे थोड़ा सा लूज कर सकते हैं, या फिर we are trying to push it down. Okay? State the range of power of accommodation of a normal eye. Now this is a very good question. Let me just do it. Let me just erase this first, and then we'll be doing this question. Okay, so what does it say? First of all, you have to understand what is the range of power of accommodation. So let me just write it over here. The range of power of accommodation will be written as 1 by focal length of the near point, focal length of the near point, or the nearest distance you can see. Nearest, I'm writing the near point, and here I'll be writing the largest distance you can see. So I'm writing it over the far point. Now we know that for a normal eye, the minimum distance we can see clearly without giving much strain to our eyes is 25 centimeter. So I'm writing the near point for a healthy eye. Near point is 25 centimeter. And the maximum distance we can see it clearly is infinite. So I'm writing the far point is infinite. So just I'll write it over here. That is writing 100 by 25. Why? Because we know that this is written as in meters in the SI unit, while the near point is given in centimeter. We have also done so many times in power thing also, right? Minus 1 by infinity, which would be just 4 iota. So the range or the power of accommodation of a normal eye, that is how much is the power to accommodate things for a normal eye is given by this. I hope it is clear. Now coming on next is the ray diagram to show correction of eye defect. There is an eye defect of an old man. We have an old man who cannot see an object closer than 1 meter. Okay, students, tell me what defect is this? Yeah, very good. That is hypermetropia. Why? दिस पर्सन इज अनेबल टू सी नियर ऑब्जेक्ट, पास की चीजें नहीं देख पा रहा है, दूर की देख पा रहा है। दिस इज हाइपरमेट्रोपिया। कैसे क्योर होता है? कन्वेक्स लेंस यूज करके क्योर करते हैं। सो यू कैन जस्ट ड्रॉ द फिगर। दिस इज द ह्यूमन आई, this is the human eye. I have drawn the lens over here. We know that in human eye we have convex lens. Let's suppose initially एक object यहाँ पे थी which the old man is unable to see. So how we can cure it? We can apply a convex lens. Now अब क्या होने वाला है? यहाँ से object से light rays are going to come. Light rays are going to come. We know that the purpose of this lens is to converge. Now, so I'm saying that the object, light rays आएंगी, bend हो जाएंगी, refract होंगी और ऐसे जाएंगी to the human eye. But we have a tendency कि हमें लगती है light हरदम सीधी आती है. So just trying to make it in the back, near object. तो क्या हो रहा है? एक्चुअली में रियल ऑब्जेक्ट यहाँ पे प्लॉटेड थी और ये कहीं जाके पीछे कन्वर्ज हो जाएगी। रियल ऑब्जेक्ट यहाँ पे थी, लाइट रेज निकलती हैं, हमने कन्वेक्स लेंस लगा दिया which apparently feels us, या इंसान को ऐसा लग रहा है कि उसका ऑब्जेक्ट दूर ही रखा है। दिस इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस कन्वेक्स लेंस। ऑब्जेक्ट पास है बट इंसान को लग रहा है कि द ऑब्जेक्ट इज प्लेस्ड फार ओनली एंड द इमेज इज फॉर्म्ड एट द राइट पोजीशन ऑन द रेटिना। Okay, I hope this is clear. Now coming to the next, we have an electric bulb becomes dim when a heater is connected in parallel to it. Okay, so what is happening? आपने दो चीज कनेक्ट कर रखी है। एक है आपके पास बल्ब, आई एम नॉट शोइंग इन एग्जैक्ट वे, मैंने इसके सर्किट डायग्राम नहीं यूज करी हूँ, जस्ट टू इलस्ट्रेट यू पीपल। बल्ब है, उसके आगे हमने एक हीटर लगा दिया, दोनों को हमने कनेक्ट किया है इन becomes when electric heater is parallel. So we have connected them into parallel. It is written that the bulb and heater are connected in parallel. Okay. So this part is connected in the parallel to it. So which says that the bulb and the heater are connected in parallel to this. So what happens? Why does it just becomes dim? ये dim क्यों रहा है? अब देखो, heater is based on such a way that heater का resistance बहुत कम लिया जाता है। Why? So that इसके अंदर से, heater के अंदर से करंट, काफी ज्यादा करंट पास करे। क्या फायदा होगा ज्यादा करंट पास करने से? हीट इवॉल्व्ड यूजिंग जूल हीटिंग इफेक्ट सेज दैट जितना ज्यादा करंट जाएगा उतना ज्यादा हीट क्रिएट करेगा, एंड दिस इज आवर पर्पस, वी वांट मोर अमाउंट ऑफ हीट, सो आई एम राइटिंग हीट प्रोड्यूस्ड विल बी आई स्क्वायर इंटू आर इंटू टी, यानी बहुत ज्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ हीट विल बी प्रोड्यूस्ड। ओके, एंड नाउ इफ दे आर कनेक्टेड इन पैरेलल, इसमें अगर बहुत ज्यादा करंट जा रहा है, ऑब्वियसली फॉर द अदर पार्ट करंट कम जाएगा, एंड इफ करंट इज गोइंग लेस, दिस वुड मीन दैट सिंपल, द इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब विल बिकम डिम। व्हाई? बिकॉज लेस अमाउंट ऑफ करंट इज पासिंग फ्रॉम दैट। Okay, now coming on to the next, how we can connect three resistor so that the equivalent is 12 ohm. How we can connect three resistance, each of the value 8 ohm, so that the resultant is formed is 12 ohm. Okay, let us look how to do. देखो, जब भी ऐसे सवाल आते हैं, सबसे पहले तो आपको अलग अलग परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन करने पड़े। You have to try it in various ways. देखो, हमारे पास 3 रेजिस्टेंस हैं, तीनों की वैल्यू है 8 ओम, हमें मिला के बनाना है इसको टू बी 12 ओम। दिस इज द आर नेट वैल्यू जो हमें चाहिए। पहली चीज what it comes to our mind, अगर तीनों को सीरीज में लगा दे, पहला कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, अगर मैं सबको सीरीज में लगा देती हूँ, so it would mean that सीरीज में लगते ही the total resistance would be R1 plus R2 plus R3, which will mean that 8 plus 8 plus 8, which will mean that 24 ohm. No, we cannot do this. Let us look for next configuration. If I set all this is in parallel, parallel में करते क्या हो जाएगा? So that would be we have 3 identical, so that would be 8 by 3. Identical resistance say, that is why we connected in this way. This would become 8 by 3 ohm. Again not satisfying. Thinking for some other combination. क्या कर रहे हैं हम? अब देखो, third configuration I am saying, दो को parallel और resultant को series में. So I am saying that can be done is, दो parallel में है means the net would be like this, first, second, और मिला के पूरे के साथ, that is third resistance के साथ we connected it in series. Let us see for this. तो देखो, because of the parallel, what is going to come? So for 8 and 8, that would be 4 ohm, right? 8 by 2. And 8 ohm is in series. अब मुझे बताओ, what will be the final resultant of this? You'll say the final resultant would be just 12 ohm. Am I clear? So in such a way, you have to do such type of questions. Okay. Next question says that an object is placed at a distance of 40 centimeter in front of a convex lens. Okay. देखो, convex lens के सामने रखी हुई है ऑब्जेक्ट, कितनी दूरी पे? 30 सेंटीमीटर की दूरी पे रखी हुई है. Whenever you are doing such type of question, always make sure that sign convention बहुत important. You will be writing u would be minus 30 centimeter. Clear? Why? क्योंकि left में रख रहे हैं. Opposite to direction of light. Light का direction ऐसे होता है. कोई यहाँ से आप calculation चीज शुरू करोगे. Any object kept away here, you will say positive. Any object kept away here, you will say negative. So I'm writing object distance is minus 30. Focal length is, हमें पता है convex lens है, तो focal length क्या होगा? Positive. So convex lens, focal length is positive 15 centimeter. Lens formula का use करते हुए tell where would be the image form. Simple. 1 by v minus 1 by u is equals to 1 by f. The lens formula. Now writing it over here, 1 by v पता लगाना है, minus 1 by u, that is minus 1 by 30 is equals to focal length formed is 15 centimeter. यहाँ से आप बहुत easily पता लगा लोगे, that is 1 by 15. This would be minus. जब इधर जाएगा minus हो जाएगा, you will write it as minus 1 by 30. When you will solve, this will become as v is equals to 30 centimeter. यानी image is formed at 30 centimeter. Positive 30, which means that यहाँ पे आके image बन जाएगी. ठीक है? यहाँ पे भी 30 और यहाँ पे भी 30. Make sense also. अब देखो, focal length है 15 सेंटीमीटर. ऑब्जेक्ट रखा हुआ है 30 पे. क्या ऑब्जेक्ट सेंटर ऑफ कर्वेचर पे नहीं रखा हुआ है? Any object is placed at C, obviously same size की इमेज बनेगी and at the center of curvature only. Real, inverted, same size at center of curvature. See property काम आ गई. What will be the size of image? Now you can automatically write, या तो you can write using magnification, which would be height of image by height of object v by u. Yeah, you can automatically write the height of image would be just equal to the height of object. Am I clear with this? Coming to the next question. Okay, next question says that draw the ray diagram for refraction of the light and mark the angle of refraction and deviation. Okay, so let me just draw the prism over here. This is the prism. सबसे पहले क्या हो रहा है, एक लाइट आएगी, क्या बोलेंगे इसे, इंसिडेंट रे. ओके, यू कैन राइट इट ओवर हियर आल्सो. सो दैट इज इंसिडेंट रे. ओके, अब देखो लाइट आएगी इंसिडेंट पे, सो आई एम प्लॉटिंग इट एज नॉर्मल. ये क्या हो जाएगा, नॉर्मल और द परपेंडिकुलर टू द लेंस ओवर हियर. क्लियर. इसके बाद क्या होगा, जाएगी, रिफ्रैक्शन होगा, बेंडिंग ऑफ लाइट हो जाएगी, ऐसे आगे जाते. फिर आगे क्या होगा, अगेन दूसरा मटेरियल मिल रहा है, अगेन आई एम ड्रॉइंग नॉर्मल. यहां से भी क्या होगा, रिफ्रैक्शन इन दिस वे. दिस इज द इंसिडेंट लाइट. और ये फाइनल रिफ्रैक्टेड लाइट, और आई एम कॉलिंग इट एज एमर्जेंट लाइट. एमर्जेंट लाइट. क्लियर. अब इसको प्लॉट करना है. आई एम राइटिंग दिस नॉर्मल और इंसिडेंट रे के बीच का एंगल. दिस इज एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस. व्हाट इट वुड बी, दिस इज, सी, पूरी लाइट आई, आफ्टर ऑल द रिफ्रैक्शन, दिस इज द फाइनल लाइट गुड. सो आई एम राइटिंग दिस वुड बी द एंगल ऑफ इमरजेंस, जिसके साथ लाइट फाइनली विच इज कमिंग आउट. ओके, ये क्या हो जाएगा, पहले लाइट आई, पहले मीडियम से रिफ्रैक्शन हुआ, इसे मैं लिख रही हूं एंगल R1. ओके, ये क्या है, दिस इज द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस टू दिस, सो आई एम राइटिंग इट ओवर हियर एज R2. क्लियर. एंड दिस, व्हाट इज दिस, एवरीवन नोज दिस, दिस इज एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म. ओके, so this is angle of prism. You usually write it by the letter A. Okay, एक चीज और we have to add it over here is, देखो लाइट ऐसे आ रही थी, अगर कुछ नहीं होता, कोई मीडियम नहीं, कोई प्रिज्म नहीं, तो लाइट कैसे जाती. आप बोलते कि लाइट आ रही है, कुछ भी नहीं होता, तो क्यों मुड़ती, ये एग्जैक्टली ऐसे चली जाती, कोई चेंज नहीं आता, बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट अनडेविएटेड पास्ट. ओके, लेकिन अब कहां जा रही है, राइट. सो इट इज गोइंग ओवर हियर. सो आई एम सेइंग इफ वी कनेक्ट इट ओवर हियर, या फिर द एंगल मेड बिटवीन कहां जानी थी, वेयर इट वाज सपोज्ड टू गो, एंड वेयर इट इज गोइंग नाउ, is known as this angle of deviation. तो मैं इसे यहाँ पे प्लॉट करके लिख रही हूँ, this is angle of deviation. Clear? So this would be angle of deviation. So yeah, this is what was asked to you in the exam. Coming on next, path of light को क्या होगा अगर आपने ग्लास पिन को रिवर्स कर दिया, angle of deviation change. Okay. So first of all, what is the value of deviation, angle of deviation, which is I plus E minus A. I, angle of incidence, E, angle of emergence, E, angle of prism. देखो, अब लाइट रे आ रही है, आपने पूरा शिफ्ट कर दिया. We are dealing with this as principle of reversibility. अगर आपने ग्लास प्रिज्म को उल्टा कर दिया, यानी अब जो इंसिडेंट लाइट थी, क्या होगा, लेट मी जस्ट प्लॉट इट ओवर हियर. अब अगर आप ग्लास प्रिज्म को उल्टा करते हो, स्ट्रक्चर वुड बी सेम फ्रॉम द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ रिवर्सिबिलिटी. ये पाथ पहले ऐसे जा रही थी, अगर लाइट यहां से आएगी, दैट विल फॉलो द अपोजिट पाथ. व्हाट इज द चेंज विच इज गोइंग टू कम, अब एंगल इंसिडेंस एमरजेंस एंगल बन जाएगा, और एमरजेंस एंगल एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस. दीज टू विल चेंज. So just this much you can write from the principle of reversibility. आप लिख ले सकते हैं इसे, from the principle of reversibility, if the glass prism is changed, या अगर आप चेंज कर रहे हैं तो क्या होगा, जो इंसिडेंट लाइट थी अब वो एमर्जेंट बन जाएगी, एंड द एमर्जेंट वुड बी आई. मुझे एक चीज बताओ, इफ आई और E की swapping हो जाए, if we swap it, so tell me, will there be any change in the angle of deviation? कोई भी चेंज आएगा यहाँ पे? So you'll say no because we have both the terms. दोनों का sum तो वही रहेगा. तो angle of deviation will not change if glass prism को आप उल्टा भी. Coming to the next question. Okay, next question is a case study which says that कि 3 बच्चे हैं, श्वेता, आयशा and समृद्धि. एक एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड द फैक्टर ऑफ रेजिस्टेंस. रेजिस्टेंस कैसे चेंज होगा? सबके पास एक सर्किट है विद अ सेल, एमीटर एंड अ प्लग की. एंड श्वेता क्या कर रही है? पुट अ निक्रोम वायर ऑफ लेंथ L इन द सर्किट. Aisha put a nichrome of same thickness but twice the length, and Samriddhi took a copper length of same thickness, and after plugging the key, the current in the ammeter, what is going to happen with it? Okay, let's see. Now the question says that अगर ammeter reading X दे रहा है with nichrome wire of length L, what will be the reading if length of nichrome wire is doubled? देखो यहाँ पे वोल्टेज का कोई जिक्र नहीं कर रखा. We have to assume this is constant because it is not mentioned. So what would be the change? Just give me a second. Okay, so what will happen if the length of the nichrome wire is double? See how we'll do? We know that अगर हम length को बदल रहे हैं, so what is the change which is going to happen is we know that resistance is rho L by A. जो भी वायर का रेजिस्टेंस है वो इस पे डिपेंडेंट है. अगर लेंथ को डबल किया which will mean that रेजिस्टेंस में क्या हो गया? अब जो नया रेजिस्टेंस है वो पहले वाले रेजिस्टेंस के क्या हो गया? ट्वाइस. वोल्टेज सेम है. मुझे बताओ यूजिंग ohm's law कैन आई से दैट कि सारा सेटअप इज सेम, रेजिस्टेंस आधा हो गया, रेजिस्टेंस डबल हो गया, तो विल इट मीन दैट एवरीथिंग इज कांस्टेंट? तो विल इट मीन दैट करंट विल गेट हाफ? yes, using this equation we saw that current is half. Okay, what happens to ammeter reading if area is doubled? Okay, if we change on the area, देखो again I'm going to say अब क्या होने वाला है? Resistance is inversely proportional to area. अब अगर आप क्या कर रहे हो? आप एरिया को डबल कर रहे हो, which means that अगर आपने एरिया को डबल किया, जो नया वाला रेजिस्टेंस आया, क्या इसका ये मतलब है कि that will become half of the first one? आपने एरिया को डबल किया, रेजिस्टेंस आधा होगा. Again using this equation, everything is constant leaving these two. Resistance आधा हो गया, which means that current would just simply double, right? Okay. Next is define resistivity. Write the SI unit. Compare the resistivity with its constituent elements. So how we can say that resistivity of a material. Let me just make it over here. It says that resistivity of any material is a property of a material. हर मटेरियल की रेजिस्टिविटी अलग अलग है. So I'm writing resistivity is a property of the material. First thing, property of material. Second, what is resistivity? Resistivity, as we know that the formula would be resistance is rho L by A. From here we can write this resistivity as rho is equals to RA by L. So resistivity of any material defines the resistance offered by any material. So I'm writing it defines or it tells the resistance offered by any material. Resistance offered by any material. Any material? Okay. Now tell me what is the SI unit? देखो आप खुद just try to do it by yourself in this. Can I say that the SI unit would be resistance की वजह से ohm, area की वजह से meter square divided by a meter. So I'm writing it has to be omega meter. Clear with this? Okay. एक और चीज थी कि रेजिस्टिविटी किसकी ज्यादा होती है, तो रेजिस्टिविटी ऑलवेज अलॉयज की ज्यादा होती है एज कंपेयर टू द मेटल्स. तो मेटल और अलॉयज में रेजिस्टिविटी किसकी ज्यादा होगी, अलॉयज की. ओके और क्या पूछा है क्वेश्चन में? ओके दिस इज व्हाट नेक्स्ट इज टंगस्टन इज यूज्ड फॉर मेकिंग फिलामेंट ऑफ लैम्प. Why tungsten is used? See, tungsten is used because it have very high melting point. Now what does it mean? See, if any substance have high melting point, जल्दी से melt नहीं करेगा. Lamps में हमें इसी चीज की जरूरत है कि वो हम चाहते हैं कि हम उसे हीट दें, वो लाइट दे, लेकिन वो जल्दी से मेल्ट अप ना कर जाए. मेल्ट करेगा तो पूरा लैम्प विल जस्ट destroy, you can say, काम से खराब हो जाएगा, right? Conductors of bread toaster are made up of alloy rather than pure metal. Again, अब bread toaster का क्या काम है? More and more amount of heat energy produce करना. We are taking element of high resistance. High resistance use कर रहे हैं so that using Joule's heating effect we can create more heat out of it, right? Okay, next is list any two feature of the current used in the house of India. So what are the two feature? First I'm taking, पहली चीज तो ये एक alternating current है. Alternating current means it is changing the direction. So alternating current है, direction बदल रहा है. Second property, जो भी हमारे घर में करंट आता है that is of 50 hertz frequency, और I'm writing frequency is 50 hertz, which means that एक सेकेंड में 50 बार पॉजिटिव एंड 50 टाइम्स इन द नेगेटिव वे, यानी पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव. इन 1 second the current which is coming to our house gets 50 times positive and 50 times negative. Interesting, right? So next is write to difference between direct and alternating current. Okay. So only two differences are asked. So I'm doing direct and alternating it over here. Alternating over here. So first thing is for the direct, it is the direction, very simple direction. It is in the same direction. So I'm writing same direction. Then it is an alternating current. It changes its direction. So I'm writing it will change its direction. Change its direction. Okay. Another, anything use? See, it is not advisable to carry direct to a long distance. मतलब इस करंट को आप बहुत दूर तक कैरी नहीं कर सकते. Why? Lot of energy losses. You can easily carry this current to very long distance because काफी कम energy loss है. There is very less energy loss over here. So you can write it over here. Can be transported to a large distance because of less losses. So I'm writing can be transported to large distances. Large distance, while this it is not advisable to take it to a large distance because of the lots of energy loss. So cannot be. You can write the same point, cannot be the same point. Transported to the large distance. One another point you can write, it is created by the dams. It is created by the modern techniques, while this is created by cells and batteries. Okay. Next, how will you identify the live wire and a neutral wire? See, in our house, we have these wire. It is the live wire from where we have the current passing in our home. So जो हमारे घर में current pass करता है वो करता है live wire से. So I'm writing current. इससे current pass होता है, so I'm writing current passing in it. और कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें? इट इज यूजुअली रेड इन कलर. ये यूजुअली रेड कलर की होती है. और न्यूट्रल वायर क्या होती है? दिस इज कनेक्टेड टू कंप्लीट द सर्किट. और ये क्या होती है? या तो ये ब्लैक होती है और या फिर ये इट इज आइदर ब्लैक और ब्राउन इन कलर. इनमें से एक कलर का यूजुअली इट इज फाउंड. वन वे इज बाय आइडेंटिफाई यूजिंग द कलर. सेकेंड वे, if you apply a tester, या फिर आप देखोगे there is a voltage drop across this. So if you will apply a tester, you will see that it will deflect. और आप यहाँ पे tester लगाओगे, so there is no deflection over here. Clear? Next, why is fuse an important component? So fuse is very important and we all know this. Why? कभी घर में अगर कोई बहुत ज्यादा करंट आ जाए, ओवरलोडिंग से कोई वायर्स, इफ ड्यू टू ओवरलोडिंग द वायर्स ब्रेक, और इट इज बिकॉज सम शॉर्ट सर्किटिंग, टू मच अमाउंट ऑफ करंट इज कमिंग, एंड इफ सच अमाउंट ऑफ करंट विल कम, then it can destroy our house appliances. So in order to safeguard our home, what are we doing? We use this component fuse. So that जैसे ही if any such condition happens, either short circuiting, overloading or any wire damage, so instantly it will break. It is made up of low melting material which will just melt and the circuit will break. As the circuit is break, the current won't come inside to our house, and thus we can safeguard our homes. So it is very, very necessary to have fuse in our homes for safety purpose. Next is distinguish between overloading and the short circuiting. Now what is overloading? Overloading means when too many appliances are used. आपने बहुत ज़्यादा loading कर दी. If you are in your home, you have switched on AC, fridge, heater, iron, electric iron, bread toaster, everything. So many appliances you are using. That is overheating. What is short circuiting? Short circuiting is when the live wire and the neutral wire get connected. So by any breaking or something, when the live and the neutral wire touch each other, live and the neutral wire touch each other, so we say that this is short circuiting. What type of materials are used in fuse wire? I already told you, in the fuse, you're going to use the material with low melting point. Why with low melting materials? So that whenever the current exceeds a normal value, the material just simply breaks off, so that the further contact with the house just get damaged, right? So that is all for the physics part. We have discussed the all physics part which came in the exam CBSE. Okay students, so let's discuss the next part, that is for the chemistry. Let's start the questions. In it is asked, in this it is asked, which of the following does not belong to the homologous series? So out of these, which one is not consisting in this is D. Why? Because both were having the different formula. The general formula was different for both of them, right? Coming to the next question, we have, which of the following is an amphoteric oxide? So 4 options were given. The correct answer is, that is Al2O3. Zinc oxide shows both acidic as well as the basic behavior. Such metal oxide, when they react with both acid as well as the bases to produce salt and water, they are reacting with both, so and produce salt and water. So the correct answer to this is option D. Coming to the next, the volume ratio of hydrogen and the oxygen gases which are liberated during the electrolysis of water, we know water is H2O, and when it is reacted, we get the ratio of 1:2. So the option E is the correct answer to this. Study the table and select the correct option. Which one is the salt, the acid, the base, and the nature of salt? So out of these four, we had to choose one, and the correct answer to this is D. That is, NaOH is a strong base. CH3COOH is a strong weak acid. Therefore, the salt will be basic in nature because of the presence of strong base. Clear? So the correct option here, it was D. Which of the following will not be used in the addition reaction? Let us see what is the correct answer. The correct answer over here is C itself, which means that unsaturated hydrocarbons and hydrogen in the presence of catalysts such as nickel, they give saturated hydrocarbons, right? So here this C3H8 is a saturated hydrocarbon and hence will not show addition reaction. I hope you people have written this answer only. Next is, what is the chemical name for plaster of Paris and the chemical equation of its preparation? So the chemical name for the plaster of Paris is CeSO4 2H2. And how can we prepare this? When it is heated, it just gives into these components, right? So you should have known this equation. And what else is asked? Name the acid present in and string. So formic acid is present in and string, right? Next is a question which says that alcohol forms a homologous series with general formula this CnH2n plus 1 OH and OH group as a functional group. Now ethanol is commonly known as alcohol, which is used in alcoholic drinks. Everyone knows this. It is a good solvent used in medicine, cough syrups, tonics, etc. You have to tell the structure formula and name of the fourth member of the alcohol homologue. So let us see what is this. So the fourth equation, the fourth member of the alcohol is butanol, and the formula goes over here. So you should have written this C4H9OH. And what happens when ethanol is heated with KMnO4? So basically here you were supposed to write this equation. Whenever you heat this ethanol with an alkaline substance KMnO4, so what happens? It results into this acid CH3COOH plus H2O, right? Next is, what happens when ethanol is heated with excessive sulfuric acid? So these are the reactions which you have written. That is, first, see, this is CH3COOH. When you are mixing it with C2H5OH in the presence of sulfuric acid, H2SO4, so these are the components got, and this is a very, very important reaction. This is also known as esterification reaction. Okay, very, very important. It's have something sweet and a fruity smell. Next, it was asked, when ethanol is heated with excess concentrated sulfuric acid, so what is happening? So this is the ethanol. When it is heated with sulfuric, so we get this substance. Clear? Coming to the next question, it is, you have to write the reason for it. First, ionic compound have very high melting and very high boiling point. So why it is so? It is because the ionic compound consists of positive and negative charged ions. These ions are held together. They are held together by a strong force of attraction. They are very strongly bounded to each other. A large amount of heat energy is required to break these forces. They are very tightly packed. You have to apply a lot of energy in order to break them. Hence, they have very high melting and very high boiling points. Clear? Next is, why soldering an alloy of lead is used for welding electrical wires. So you might have also heard about soldering whenever anything breaks. So basically the soldering is done and two parts are fixed. So let's see what you would have written. Solder have a very low melting point. So it melts very easily without damaging wires. And what happens? It flows and fills the gap between wire, forming a strong joint. It also have very good electrical conductivity, hence suitable for joining wires. So easily any wires can be joined. Also, it is a good conductor. So it is a perfect fit for our problem. Next is, carbon cannot reduce the oxide of Na or Mg. Why? The sodium and the magnesium are more reactive than the carbon. So they are more reactive, their oxides are very stable and have a very strong attraction for the oxygen. Carbon cannot remove oxygen from these oxides. Therefore, carbon cannot reduce Na2O or MgO. Next is the reaction with aluminium. Okay, so this only is given, that is okay. So that was it for the chemistry part, and now we'll be discussing the next part, that is biology. So it says that in human beings, the implantation of the fertilized egg take place in which part of the female reproductive system? So it happens in the uterus. Okay, the next question is, identify the part which control the closing and the opening of the stomatal pore. So everyone knows this is guard cell. That is, you will write the option C over here. Coming on next, this is a reaction that completely represents anaerobic reaction, anaerobic respiration. We know that anaerobic means with the lack of oxygen, with very less oxygen. So out of this, D is the correct answer. That is, glucose is formed into pyruvate. With the lack of oxygen, it forms lactic acid plus energy. Coming to the next, which of the following is non-biodegradable pollutant, which is not biodegraded so easily? Paper, DDT, wood, vegetable peel. Very easy, obviously it is DDT, that is DDT. You should also know the name of this, that is dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane, which is non-biodegradable pollutant. Coming on the next question, we have, when a human egg is fertilized by a sperm having Y chromosome, we are giving Y chromosome, man is giving Y chromosome, the zygote has following combination of chromosome. Okay, so we'll write it over here as 44 plus XY. Women always have X. If she gets Y, then the result formation is XY, which is a boy, male child. Clear? If the male have given X chromosome, so it would have been XX, and that is a girl, female child. Coming on next question is 24th, an assertion reason question, which says that the peristaltic movement occur all along the gut. Second, the lining of the gut has muscles that contract rhythmically to push the food in regulated manner. So this is not correct. Peristaltic movements occur all along the gut. They do not happen on all the gut. While this is correct, that the lining of gut muscles contract rhythmically to push the food in a regulated way. So the correct option would be D. Assertion is false, while the reason is true to you. Coming on next. So it was asked that this is the figure which is drawn, and you have to tell us that what is PQRS. This is P, Q, R and S. So I hope everyone have written the same thing. That is P, the hand was touching, that was receptor. It detects the stimulus. Then Q was sensory neuron. That is, it carries Q over here, sensory neurons. What is the purpose? It is going to carry the impulse to the spinal cord. Right? What about R? R is present over here. This is R. We say that this is really neuron. Receive the impulse and passes it to the motor nerve. Next is what is S? What is this part S? So we chose S to be effector muscles, which produces response. Clear? Now the another part of this question says, which of the following plant hormones for the following process? So the first is that promotes cells division. So the correct answer is cytokinin is one who is promoting the cell division. Inhibition of the growth, it stops it. Abscisic acid. Next is detection of light. It is because of auxin. You should know all these hormones. Next is wilting of leaves. That is given by again abscisic acid. Next question is briefly mention the steps in double circulation through the human heart. See, human heart is very important and should be done before. So there are pulmonary circulation and systematic circulation. Two types of circulations are going in the heart part. Next come, mention the harmful effect of plastic bags on the environment. Suggest better alternative to the usage of plastic bags. Plastic bags are not good to our society. We should try to reduce the usage as much as we can. We should try to reduce the usage of packed food. The packed, whatever the poly bag, if you are carrying, we should try to reduce it. So, what are the harmful effects? They are non-biodegradable. They do not decompose, or they are still present in the environment in the same way. They cannot be broken down by the microorganism. They cannot be broken, leading to soil pollution, choking of drains if they get involved over here, accidental indigestion by animals. Usually cows do suffer this. That sometimes seen that some people just put some biodegradable like waste, like peels of any vegetable in that poly bag, which is somehow accidentally eaten by cows and which is very, very harmful for them. It can even lead to their death, which can be fatal also. Now, what are the alternatives? Use bag made up of jute, cloth or paper, as these are biodegradable. You can also do some things like while going to the market, supermarket for bringing something, you can take your own bag made up of jute or cloth so that you do not need the poly bags over there. Next is paddy fields require large amount of water. These pesticides and the chemical fertilizers are washed down into the soil or water bodies. How do these chemicals reach to our bodies? What is the phenomena known as? So the phenomena, the chemicals that are absorbed from the soil by the plants along with water and minerals. When these plants are eaten by herbivores, so the herbivores by carnivores, and the chemicals move up in the food chain. Since these chemicals are non-degradable, they accumulate progressively at each trophic level. This is known as biological magnification. So as human come on the top of this table, so the maximum concentration of all the chemicals occur in the human beings only. Next is kidney help us to regulate the volume of fluid and various metabolism activities. Now kidney filter about 180 liter of fluid. These all things were given in the question, but the volume actually excreted is very little. So first of all, write the structure and function of Bowman's capsule. So it is a cup-shaped, thin double-walled structure present at the upper end of the nephron. The functional unit of kidney that encloses a cluster of capillaries which are known as glomerulus. Clear? What is the function? The primary function is ultrafiltration. It collects the filtrate containing water, glucose, amino acid and salts that is forced out of the glomerular capsules under very high pressure. Next, what was asked? Although kidney filter a large amount of fluids, still the excretion from the body is very little, a liter or just 2. Why? So the discrepancy in the volume occurs. Why? Because most of the initial filtrate is selectively reabsorbed as it flows to the tubular parts of the nephron. So it is getting reabsorbed, again and again process is going on. Substance such as glucose, amino acid, salt and a major amount of water are taken back into the blood. You will write this line, this is very important, surrounding the tubule. The amount of water reabsorbed depends on how excess water is in the body and how much dissolved waste need to be excreted. Clear? Next point is what is excretion, why it is necessary. So excretion, it is a biological process which involves removal of the metabolic waste like nitrogenous waste from the body. We are trying to remove the waste from our body, the living organism. Why it is necessary? Because very harmful chemicals like urea and uric acid are toxic. They are not good to us. And if they accumulate, they can interfere with the natural metabolism and may even lead to the death. The last question for this is, state 2 similarities between lungs and kidneys. So the similarities between both of them is excretory role. Both are involved in the removal of the waste product from the body. Lungs, what are lungs removing? They are removing carbon dioxide, and kidneys remove nitrogenous waste like urea. Increase surface area. Both organs, the second point is, both these have specialized structure to increase the area for efficient filtration or the exchange. They increase the area so that exchange or the filtration happens in more good way. Lungs use alveoli and kidney use large number of filtration unit which are known as nephrons. For lungs, it is alveoli, and for kidney, these are nephrons. So we have discussed all the paper of the physics, chemistry, and the biology for the grade 10th exam which happened. I hope you all people have done it in a good way. And those who are looking for your next year preparation, I wish you all the best. Thank you, students.